Chapter 455. I create the world and the world is me. When the 9 bloodlines merged together, a thunderous roar erupted within Lin Fei. His true martial king form instantly reached 100,000 meters, even surpassing that mark. The colossal true martial king form spanned across the void, visible to all. Lin Fei made no effort to conceal his aura. Previously, Feng Ling had helped mask his presence, but now, with no one to cover for him, his aura spread far and wide. Is that the true martial king form? Such a terrifying true martial king form is that the ancient origin Saber King. It must be the ancient origin Saber King. The aura emanating from the ancient origin Saber King is too fearsome. What is he doing? I've seen the ancient origin Saber King's true martial king form before, but it never had this kind of aura. All 9 bloodlines have merged into one. Could it be that he's attempting to reach martial gods? Yes, attempting martial gods. There was a wave of astonishment among the onlookers. No one had anticipated that Lin Fei, under their watchful eyes, was about to make an attempt at reaching martial gods. That was the realm of martial gods, the transformation of a human into a deity, a true metamorphosis of life with a lifespan of 100,000 years. Should he succeed, not only would the ancient origin sect benefit, but even the Feng family would reap immense rewards. For at least 100,000 years, they would thrive without any hardships. Such was the deterrent power of a martial god dominating an era. No matter how exceptional the talents, without reaching godhood, they would be suppressed. Many martial kings had attempted this step, but without exception, all had failed. Many were in a turmoil of emotions, unsure whether to hope for Lin Fei's success or failure. The Feng Ling, upon witnessing Lin Fei's true martial king form, had her expression change drastically. Wasn't he supposed to adjust his state? Why the haste? Feng Ling immediately rushed back. She was well aware of Lin Fei's situation. Having just failed in his attempt to reach martial gods, she feared Lin Fei might recklessly try again, regardless of the cost. Originally, she had great faith in Lin Fei's self-control, but to her surprise, he had acted impulsively. If he failed again this time, Lin Fei would no longer have the chance to be reborn from the ashes. The Feng Ling had already reached the back mountain, but it was too late to stop Lin Fei. All she could do was silently pray, hoping that this time, Lin Fei would succeed. Inside Lin Fei's true martial king form, where the 9 bloodlines had already merged into one, he experienced a moment identical to his first attempt. He saw many threads, one after another, densely packed and connected to the heavens and the earth. Each thread is linked to a certain Tao or a kind of origin. Lin Fei was clear about the origin. He needed now the world origin or the laws of the world. With a loud shout, he slashed with his blade of consciousness. Sever. With a swoosh, he instantly cut all the threads except for the last one, formed by the integration of his 9 bloodlines. Following this thread with his consciousness, Lin Fei soon witnessed a sight before him, an immense amount of origin, like the sea of origin itself, seemingly endless. Each thread of origin was filled with terrifying power. These endless threads of origin, when combined, actually contained the mysteries of the entire world. Whoever could fully grasp the secrets of this sea of origin and decode it, could even decode the entire world. All the mysteries of heaven and earth would have no secrets before them. Of course, this was just Lin Fei's imagination. He understood that it was impossible. He was merely attempting to comprehend the laws of the world, which was already incredibly difficult. Though the origin was vast, Lin Fei sought only to take what was useful for him, the laws he could comprehend, the laws of the world. With a swift motion, Lin Fei's consciousness, without any hesitation, plunged into the sea of origin. The sea of origin churned, creating towering waves. Lin Fei's consciousness once again entered the sea of origin, that familiar sensation returning. At this moment, Lin Fei felt as though he was perceiving countless laws, numerous familiar laws such as the way of the saber, the way of fire, the way of wind, and more, all contained within this sea of origin. Lin Fei was fully aware that he could not afford to draw down the power of origin again. His physical body would not withstand it. Thus, he began to comprehend the laws, choosing the world laws as his focus. These laws are the key to the operation of the world, its core. So, what exactly constitutes a world? Lin Fei pondered this question. Elements like earth, fire, water, and wind form the basic components of a world. The 5 elements constitute all things, including life, encompassing everything. Yet, these are merely the elements that compose a world, one of the basic conditions, not the core. The core of the world, its fundamental essence, what could it be? In Lin Fei's mind, countless sparks flew, a sign of sudden enlightenment. In the Sea of Origin, such moments of enlightenment were plentiful. Successful enlightenment usually led to mastery of the laws. Failure to do so meant being forever lost in the Sea of Origin. This was true for every martial king and even for every nascent soul cultivator. Those who could not break through would remain there forever. Only a few could awaken and grasp the laws. Unbeknownst to Lin Fei, he was at the most critical moment of achieving godhood. One wrong step, and he would face irreparable catastrophe. He was now completely immersed in this atmosphere, his mind flickering with insights. Countless inspirations collided, and he sought to grasp just a single thread of inspiration. He wanted to know what constituted the essence of the world. Lin Fei's mind revisited the saber world he had evolved. Though saber world was not a mystic realm, it could serve as a reference. What is the saber world? It is merely a form of energy evolved by Lin Fei. And what about the small world where the phoenix resides? Lin Fei had once sensed the small world of the phoenix. It wasn't particularly large. From a distance, it might appear as a circle. If one kept shrinking it further and further, the circle might become a point. A drop in the ocean. A vast universe in a speck of dust. A world within a grain of sand. The phoenix had mentioned that a small world is like a world within a grain of sand. Every grain of sand could potentially contain a world. So, what is a world? Is it a circle? A point? Or maybe a bundle of energy? Lin Fei pondered deeply. He felt as if he was on the verge of a breakthrough, on the cusp of grasping something crucial. But he was just a bit short of it. This slight gap was like a chasm. Suddenly, a flash of insight struck Lin Fei's mind. He realized what the core of the world was. A world could be a point, a circle, a grain of sand, even a piece of paper, or a bundle of energy. The world could be anything. However, all of this is predicated on the existence of I within the world, creating something. The world I create is what it is. If I say it's a circle, then it's a circle. If I say it's a grain of sand, then it's a grain of sand. The world is me. Chapter 456. Lin Fei finally becomes a god. With a thunderous boom, as Lin Fei achieved enlightenment in the Sea of Origin, the sea itself trembled. His consciousness vanished from the Sea of Origin, returning to his physical body. Lin Fei's body at this moment was in shambles, riddled with innumerable wounds. The eruption of the 9 bloodlines exerted a terrifying force. With every passing second, his body endured more torment and was on the verge of collapse. Finally, Lin Fei's body disintegrated, collapsing at the particle level. However, at the very moment of his body's disintegration, a mysterious force emerged within him. It wasn't the power of his bloodlines, nor was it a sudden outburst of the strand of origin power within him. It was an unprecedented force, the power of laws. The laws of the world. World laws appeared within Lin Fei's body, and he wielded them as effortlessly as his own limbs. His mind was suddenly flooded with clarity and understanding. So, this is how it is, Lin Fei murmured. Without destruction, there can be no construction. Only through the elevation of life can the true nature of martial gods be manifested. Reconstructing my body with the world laws, this is the essence of the transformation from martial king to martial god. Lin Fei's physical body was being reconstructed based on these laws. This was, in essence, the reconstruction of life itself. No wonder it led to a significant increase in lifespan. No wonder the life level of martial gods was so superior to that of martial kings. The two were fundamentally different in terms of life levels. Once the reconstruction was complete, Lin Fei's body would no longer be a mere flesh and blood body, but a body of laws, a divine body, so to speak. This was the essence of the saying, the martial Tao can lead to divinity. The strength of the divine body constructed by martial gods depended on the laws comprehended. The foundation of laws used to construct the divine body determined the vast differences in power and abilities. For example, if one used the laws of the saber or sword to construct the divine body, it would become a saber body or sword body, specialized in respective abilities. This divine body was extraordinarily terrifying. With every gesture, it could unleash thousands of sword lights, each imbued with the essence of the sword Tao, creating earth-shattering power, unrivaled in its capability for destruction. Similarly, a divine body based on the fire Tao could command all the fires in the world. Any fire would be harmless to it, whether it be Lin Fei's triple yin true fire or the Phoenix's fire. When such a divine body wielded flames, its power would increase exponentially, capable of incinerating everything with a mere gesture. Once martial gods manifested their bodies, every move they made was intertwined with the laws, which was incredibly formidable. However, Lin Fei's new body was reconstructed based on the world laws, a rarity almost unheard of among warriors. Hence, even Lin Fei was uncertain about the capabilities of a body built from world laws. As time ticked by, Lin Fei's physical body had completely disintegrated, but simultaneously, the laws were reconstructing a new body for him. Interestingly, the strand of origin power within Lin Fei remained unchanged throughout the reconstruction of his new body, or divine body. Now, Lin Fei's body was similar to that of an ordinary person, not the tens of thousands or 100,000 meters monstrosity of before. But a mere glance at Lin Fei could send shivers down anyone's spine, a pressure emanating from the depths of their soul. When Lin Fei opened his eyes, his gaze instantly fell upon Feng Ling. The sheer pressure of his gaze made her feel as though her body was about to collapse. She couldn't withstand such terrifying pressure from just a look. The difference between the immortal and the mundane, Lin Fei thought. Tao integration signifies ascension to immortality, and true immortals even transcend gods. A mere glance from an immortal is unbearable for a mortal. How could they even interact? The same applies to gods. Martial gods are divine, existing on a fundamentally different plane from mortals. They no longer possess mere flesh and blood bodies, but bodies of law, containing the essence of laws within them. Not only Feng Ling, but everyone in the vicinity of the Feng family felt the overwhelming presence of Lin Fei. No one dared to meet his gaze, trembling and shocked to their core, kneeling in reverence and awe. Too weak. Lin Fei muttered to himself, acknowledging the vast chasm between his newfound divine status and the mortal realm. Feeling the fragility and insignificance of the people around him, Lin Fei realized that a mere breath of his could probably end their lives. Such was the power of a martial god, exalted above all beings. Today, I, Lin Fei, ascend to godhood, he declared. Let the heavens and earth celebrate. The rain of laws shall fall, and how much you comprehend and benefit from it depends on your fate. Lin Fei's voice, grand and resonant, echoed in everyone's ears. The birth of a martial god was a momentous event, one that even the heavens and earth would usually react to with anomalies. However, Lin Fei suppressed these phenomena, fearing the damage they could cause. But he wasn't stingy, he was ready to bestow a rain of laws. Thunder rumbled, and instantly, the sky was shrouded with dark clouds, and fierce winds howled. In a moment, a gentle rain began to fall. For Lin Fei, now comprehending the world laws, summoning wind and rain was mere child's play. But this was no ordinary rain. As the rain fell, many felt a chilling sensation that seemed to penetrate their bones, quickly merging into their bodies. They felt invigorated, filled with newfound strength. The sickly and weak found themselves revitalized, while martial artists felt their bodies breaking through to new levels. Even martial saints and martial sovereigns gained new insights, sitting down to meditate and comprehend. Feng Ling, upon touching the rain, sensed an enhancement in her physical being and even gained some understanding of the Tao. To her, this was no small matter. Everyone in the Feng family and the ancient origin sect realized what this moment signified. Lin Fei had become a god. Congratulations to ancient origin Saber King on achieving martial god status, led by Feng Jishan. Everyone in the Feng family knelt and worshipped in reverence. A god indeed deserved such veneration from all beings. Chapter 457. Lin Fei becomes a god, stirring shock in all directions. As the divine body on the back mountain gradually vanished, Lin Fei smiled slightly, turning to Feng Ling. "What, don't you recognize me anymore?" he teased. Feng Ling was still immersed in the shock of the recent events. You really became a god?" she asked in disbelief. "Yes, I have achieved the status of martial gods," Lin Fei confirmed. "And becoming a martial god isn't as complicated as you might think. Come, let me explain in detail about becoming a martial god. After all, it's your turn next." Lin Fei took Feng Ling's hand and they went into a room for a lengthy discussion, with Lin Fei explaining the process of becoming a martial god in great detail. Meanwhile, at the Xiao family, Xiao Yuchen was in the blood pool. Her bloodlines had awakened, and using the pool, she had now awakened 6 divine abilities. With only 3 more to go, she could have a chance to become a martial king. Despite knowing that Lin Fei was already betrothed, she occasionally thought of him. If I become a martial king, could I also have a chance? Xiao Yuchen wondered, biting her lip. Suddenly, a report came. Aurora Sovereign, 3 days ago, ancient origin Saber King Lin Fei, in the back mountains of the Feng family, merged 9 bloodlines and ascended to godhood. Now, the ancient origin sect has given birth to a martial god. Xiao Yuchen was shaken. Ascension to godhood was beyond her imagination. She was struggling just to awaken and become a martial king, while Lin Fei had already become a martial god. The gap was immense. Indeed, the gap between me and Lin Fei is vast, she murmured bitterly, her unrealistic hopes fading away. In the ancient origin sect, which was usually calm, a sudden commotion erupted. The entire sect seemed to tremble as someone shouted, "Congratulations to the ancient origin sect's supreme elder, ancient origin Saber King Lin Fei, on his ascension to godhood. Our ancient origin sect has birthed a martial god." Everyone was utterly astounded. Previously, the ancient origin sect didn't even have a martial king. Lin Fei was the first to become a martial king, elevating the ancient origin sect to the status of a martial king lineage, capable of glory for 10,000 years. But now, Lin Fei had ascended to godhood, bringing the ancient origin sect a martial god, ensuring its brilliance for 100,000 years. Any sect that has existed for 100,000 years is bound to have a profound heritage, positioning itself as one of the top factions in the ancient continent. A martial arts sect with a god at its helm is exceedingly rare throughout the entire ancient continent. Both the Wind Sovereign and the sect master of ancient origin sect were almost in disbelief. However, they were among the first to receive this news. Deserving of a seeker of the Tao. It said that those Tao seekers have great futures, and it seems these words are not in vain, they mused. If possible, we need to recruit more seekers of the Tao. Speaking of seekers of the Tao, the ancient origin sect didn't have only Elder Lin. There was also Shen Lianxin. Although Shen Lianxin's cultivation speed wasn't slow and quite impressive in the history of the ancient origin sect, he was currently only a martial saint, still far from martial sovereign, let alone martial king. In contrast, Lin Fei had surpassed martial sovereigns and kings, ascending directly to godhood. This gap was enormous, causing many to even forget about Shen Lianxin, another Tao seeker. At this moment, in the dwelling of Shen Lianxin within the ancient origin sect, he naturally heard the commotion outside. It was too loud to ignore, and he also heard what was being said. "Ascension to godhood, congratulations, Brother Lin," Shen Lianxin murmured softly. However, his heart remained as calm as a still well, unaffected by Lin Fei's achievements. Whether Lin Fei became a martial king or a god seemed irrelevant to him. He was Shen Lianxin, a cultivator of the Saber Tao. As long as he had the strength and was alive, he would continue on his path step by step, without regrets. What others did was of no concern to him. With that, Shen Lianxin closed his eyes once more, resuming his cultivation. In a vast city, backed by the powerful deity transformation sect, the Heaven Transformation sect, which was founded by a deity transformation ancestor. Despite its relatively short history of tens of thousands of years, it had grown into a formidable force. No one dared to cause trouble within the territories controlled by the Heaven Transformation sect. Heavenly Artifact Ancestral Master had set up a miscellaneous goods shop in one of the cities under the control of the Heaven Transformation sect, using it as a cover while he closely monitored the Ancient Origin sect, especially news regarding the Ancient Origin Saber King and Feng Lin. He was a formidable figure, just half a step away from deity transformation, but Lin Fei had slain his original body, leaving him only with his deity transformation form. His hopes of becoming a true god were dashed, fueling his resentment towards Lin Fei. He hid, biding his time for revenge. However, one day, he received a piece of news that struck him like a bolt from the blue. The ancient origin Saber King Lin Fei has ascended to godhood in the back mountains of the Feng family. He couldn't believe it. How could Lin Fei become a god so easily, he thought. Despite his disbelief, the news had already spread across the ancient land. Faced with this reality, the heavenly artifact was filled with fear. Even though he possessed a deity transformation body, he could no longer hope to achieve actual deity transformation in this lifetime unless he stumbled upon an incredibly rare opportunity. But such fortune seemed unlikely for him. Realizing this, the heavenly artifact knew that becoming a true deity transformation was impossible, yet he still wanted to live. Previously, avoiding Lin Fei had been sufficient for safety. As a half-step deity transformation, it was easy for him to escape or hide. But things had changed now that Lin Fei had become a god. With just a whiff of his aura, Lin Fei could lock onto the heavenly artifact's body. A true deity transformation being, capable of creating countless incarnations, was almost impossible to kill entirely. It was their ultimate survival technique. But the heavenly artifact wasn't a true deity transformation. He didn't have countless incarnations, only this one body. If it fell, he would truly die. So, in his panic, he thought, should I seek the help of the heaven transformation ancestor? If he agrees to shelter me, perhaps I can live a little longer. The heavenly artifact immediately thought of the heaven transformation ancestor as his last resort. Without delay, he set off towards the heaven transformation sect. He was determined to try everything possible to save his life. In his mind, seeking the aid of the heaven transformation ancestor for survival was not a matter of shame, but a necessary step in the face of such dire circumstances. Chapter 458. Reuniting with Phoenix, Phoenix's shock. The heavenly artifact finally managed to meet with the heaven transformation ancestor. He had once met the heaven transformation ancestor and even received kindness from him. Therefore, the heavenly artifact immediately sought him out for help. Oh, heavenly artifact, what brings you to me? The heaven transformation ancestor opened his eyes, somewhat surprised to see the heavenly artifact. I've come to seek your help, the heavenly artifact implored. The heaven transformation ancestor was skeptical, wondering who could threaten someone as powerful as a half-step deity transformation. The sect master of the heaven transformation sect, standing respectfully, explained the recent developments involving the ancient origin sect and Lin Fei. Upon hearing about Lin Fei's ascension to martial gods, the heaven transformation ancestor's eyes flashed with a hint of admiration. Martial gods? I never expected someone of this era to achieve such a feat on their own. Impressive, truly impressive. This reaction was unexpected for the heavenly artifact, who then pleaded, Ancestor, Lin Fei is ruthless. He destroyed my heavenly artifact sect and is even pursuing me. Please save me. Heavenly artifact, we do share a past connection. You coming to me is fortuitous indeed, the heaven transformation ancestor mused. I won't let you suffer too much. Offering you to martial god Lin will earn me a favor. A favor from a martial god is something many dreams of but can't obtain. How should I thank you? Shocked, the heavenly artifact realized the heaven transformation ancestor's intention and immediately attempted to flee, even resorting to self-detonating part of his deity transformation body to escape. However, the heaven transformation ancestor, a true deity transformation being, easily captured him regardless of his attempt to self-destruct. The heavenly artifact struggled fiercely, angrily accusing the heaven transformation ancestor, how can you, a deity transformation ancestor, stoop so low as to betray me to appease a martial god? You bringing shame to all of us chi cultivators. Heavenly artifact ancestral master now disregarded any sense of hierarchy or respect in his desperation. Facing imminent death, he furiously cursed, having nothing left to lose. In his view, a deity transformation ancestor stood high above, capable of creating countless incarnations and possessing vast divine abilities. Why would such a figure fear a mere martial god? Yet, to his shock, the heaven transformation ancestor seemed eager to please Lin Fei, intent on capturing him as a gift for the new martial god. This was completely contrary to the heavenly artifact's expectations. The heaven transformation ancestor responded with a cold laugh, go on, curse. It's fitting now. You only see the exalted status of immortality cultivators in the early stages, where indeed, they stand high above. Even a nascent soul has more means than a martial king. But once someone achieves martial god status, it changes everything. The heaven transformation ancestor explained, martial gods are much rarer than deity transformations. Think about it, there are far more martial cultivators than immortality cultivators. So why are there so few martial gods compared to deity transformations? Because becoming a martial god is exponentially harder than achieving deity transformation. A martial god captures and comprehends the essence of laws, using them for their own purposes. Deity transformations merge into these laws, existing in harmony with them. But a martial god commands the laws. You might not understand the gap between them. But know this, a single martial god is far more powerful than a deity transformation. The birth of a martial god is not just a concern for me, even other deity transformations have to accommodate them. Trading you for the favor of martial god Lin is an excellent deal. So you don't die by my hands, but by those of a martial god. Heavenly artifact, your death is not unjust. The heaven transformation ancestor's words sent shockwaves through the heavenly artifact's heart. The status of a martial god was so exalted, even surpassing that of a deity transformation. I hate this. The heavenly artifact roared in anger and frustration, but it was futile. The heaven transformation ancestor captured him effortlessly. Let's go, declared the heaven transformation ancestor. I shall personally visit the Feng family to congratulate martial god Lin and present this significant gift. The heaven transformation ancestor's eyes narrowed slightly, a smile appearing on his face. In a flash, his figure vanished into the sky. Lin Fei, having achieved the status of martial gods, had been spending time informing Feng Ling, preparing her for her own attempt at reaching martial gods. To ensure success, Lin Fei even took Feng Ling to the small world where the Phoenix resided. Whoosh! Lin Fei and the Phoenix arrived once again in the small world. During his previous visit, Lin Fei hadn't felt much different, but now, as a martial god, his perception had changed. He felt as if there were restraints everywhere in this small world, making it an uncomfortable place to stay. Despite this, for the sake of Feng Ling, Lin Fei endured. Soon, they reached the Wudong tree and saw the Phoenix again. The Phoenix suddenly opened its eyes, seemingly causing the entire space to vibrate. Its gaze fixed on Lin Fei, showing a hint of shock. You have become a martial god, the Phoenix asked. Lin Fei did not hide it, as it was impossible to conceal such a fact. Fortuitously, he replied. Good, 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 the Phoenix exclaimed joyously. It seems there's hope for me to leave this small world after all. A Tao integration true immortal was needed to break free from this small world, and the Phoenix had not held much hope before. But Lin Fei's achievement gave it hope. If Lin Fei, at such a young age, could become a martial god, progressing further and even rivaling Tao integration was not impossible. The Phoenix was not concerned about the potentially long wait. It could be reborn from ashes and had an almost eternal lifespan. It could wait, no matter how long it took, as long as there was hope. Phoenix, Feng Ling wishes to become a martial god, Lin Fei explained. She follows the path of the Phoenix, which should be considered the way of flame. Therefore, she wants to understand what truly is the path of the Phoenix and the Tao of flame. Lin Fei addressed the Phoenix directly, without any hesitation, asking to witness the Phoenix's Tao of flame. He understood the significance of this request, as it pertained to the Phoenix's secret and its unique path, not something casually revealed to others. The Phoenix gazed deeply at Lin Fei and eventually nodded. In light of you being a martial god, I will demonstrate the Tao of flame for you, the Phoenix agreed. Remember, even though your body carries the bloodline of the Phoenix and you seek to follow the Tao of flame, the path you must walk is your own, not mine. Every martial artist, every martial god, is independent. The Phoenix bloodline in you is merely a stepping stone, a means for you to find your own path. The words of the Phoenix resonated profoundly, like a wake-up call, bringing enlightenment. Feng Ling experienced a moment of clarity. Yes, I carry the Phoenix bloodline, but the path I seek to ascend to godhood is my own. At that moment, Feng Ling's resolve solidified, her determination unwavering in her journey to find and follow her own unique path. Chapter 459. The Heaven Transformation Ancestors Visit. A grand gift for Lin Fei. Lin Fei expressed his gratitude to the Phoenix and, along with Feng Ling, left the small world. Feng Ling's resolve had solidified, and she was now fully prepared to attempt the ascent to martial gods, needing only to merge her 9 bloodlines as the final step. As Lin Fei and Feng Ling had just left the small world, a resounding voice echoed throughout the Feng family's domain. Is martial god Lin present? The Heaven Transformation sect's Heaven Transformation ancestor has come to visit. Feng Ling's expression changed slightly at the mention of the Heaven Transformation sect and the Heaven Transformation ancestor, a renowned deity transformation powerhouse, leading one of the top forces in the entire ancient continent. What could the Heaven Transformation ancestor want, she wondered, puzzled by his unexpected visit. Lin Fei reassured her, let's not worry. It could be something good. The Heaven Transformation ancestor doesn't seem to bear any hostility. Let's go meet him. Together, Lin Fei and Feng Ling approached the visitor. The Heaven Transformation ancestor, understanding the protocol, had stopped just in front of the Feng family's territory, not overstepping his bounds. His respectful approach suggested he wasn't looking for trouble. Lin Fei calmly asked, I am here. What brings the Heaven Transformation ancestor to our doorstep? The Heaven Transformation ancestor glanced at Feng Ling, quickly discerning her identity. He smiled slightly and said, Martial God Lin and Feng Ling, my visit might seem a bit presumptuous, but I've captured someone who is relevant to both Martial God Lin and the Feng family. With that, the Heaven Transformation ancestor gestured, and a figure was thrown out. Lin Fei and Feng Ling looked at the figure in surprise. Heavenly Artifact Ancestral Master, they both recognized the person. Lin Fei's gaze sharpened at the sight of the heavenly artifact. Indeed, it was him in his last remaining deity transformation body. Lin Fei had planned to seek out the heavenly artifact after becoming a martial god, expecting it to be somewhat time-consuming and challenging. Surprisingly, the Heaven Transformation ancestor had delivered the heavenly artifact directly to him. Resigned to his fate, especially sensing the terrifying aura emanating from Lin Fei, the heavenly artifact realized he could no longer escape. Lin Fei smiled faintly and accepted the gesture graciously. Heaven Transformation, your kindness is deeply appreciated. With a simple gesture, Lin Fei sealed the heavenly artifact with a strand of his world law, effortlessly suppressing him. Lin Fei's world law was adept at sealing and suppression, making it impossible for the heavenly artifact to even consider dying easily. Now within Lin Fei's inner world, the heavenly artifact was at Lin Fei's mercy. The Heaven Transformation ancestor internally marveled at Lin Fei's ability to seal a half-step deity transformation cultivator like the heavenly artifact with just a flick of his law. This act alone demonstrated the formidable nature of Lin Fei's laws. The Heaven Transformation ancestor, not even able to discern the depths of Lin Fei's laws, became more cautious around the newly ascended martial god. Having established a good relationship, the Heaven Transformation ancestor then made an offer, Martial God Lin, should you ever encounter any trouble or have questions, feel free to visit the Heaven Transformation sect. Also, a word of advice, if you plan to venture into the divine realm, make sure to visit me first. After finishing his words, the Heaven Transformation ancestor departed. Feng Ling was surprised, remarking, did the Heaven Transformation ancestor really just leave like that? According to legend, he's not known for being amiable but rather imposing. Did he really come just to deliver the heavenly artifact? Lin Fei replied thoughtfully, the Heaven Transformation ancestor came to probe and also to extend goodwill. He couldn't discern my true strength, so he left. Overall, his visit was to establish friendly relations, not with ulterior motives. If there are any motives, it would be when I visit the Heaven Transformation sect in the future. As for the divine realm, Lin Fei murmured to himself. He had heard of the divine realm before the giant Kun had mentioned it would return from there to pursue him. Now the Heaven Transformation ancestor brought it up again. However, Lin Fei was clear that the priority was to assist Feng Ling in her attempt to reach martial gods. Feng Ling, take this time to adjust your state. I will protect you, Lin Fei assured her. When you feel ready, don't hesitate. Make your attempt at reaching martial gods. Remember, there are no second chances. Achieving martial gods requires great determination and wisdom. Lin Fei, having gone through the process himself, knew the difficulty of ascending to martial gods. Feng Ling returned to her chamber to prepare, while Lin Fei stood guard, ensuring no disturbances. With him, a martial god, as her protector, she would undoubtedly be undisturbed. Meanwhile, Lin Fei also immersed his consciousness in the Dubhair Dao artifact. He needed to find the path of cultivation after becoming a martial god. Ascension wasn't the end, after all, even martial gods with their 100,000-year lifespan would eventually face death. Lin Fei's path was one of immortality, seeking boundless freedom and ease, transcending the limitations of a mere 100,000 years. He needed to continue elevating himself, surpassing the realm of martial gods, and striving to reach a level comparable to Dao integration. In the Dubhe Dao artifact, Lin Fei learned that beyond deity transformation was the stage of a void transformation, and above martial gods was great martial gods, a realm not significantly different in terms of life transformation. After the stage of void transformation, which is still within the realm of deity transformation but allows integration with and travels through the void, comes the stage of Dao integration, true immortal. This stage is a significant leap, as it signifies becoming immortal, existing as long as the heavens and the earth. Similarly, in the martial path, after the great martial gods, comes the stage of martial ancestor, the ancestor of martial arts, the origin of all martial Dao. Achieving martial ancestor status is said to grant immortality, allowing one to resurrect from a drop of blood and reverse the forces of yin and yang, possessing unimaginable power. Dao integration, true immortals exist in the eternal space-time continuum, illuminating countless worlds and living as long as the cosmos itself. This truly warrants the title of immortal. In contrast, the concept of martial ancestor is even more exaggerated. Even the Dubhe Dao artifact provides only a few descriptive terms for it, as even Dubhe true immortal has never witnessed a martial ancestor. According to legends, the birth of a martial ancestor could shatter billions of worlds with a single punch, and their emergence could mean the fall of true immortals. Descriptions in the Dubhe Dao artifact suggest that Dao integration true immortals are numerous, but martial ancestor seems to be beyond reach, existing only in legends. No one has reportedly seen a martial ancestor, leaving behind only tales of their extraordinary might. Chapter 460. Beyond martial gods, shattering the void. The difference between a martial god and a great martial god is just one factor, the ability to shatter the void, Lin Fei reflected. If one can shatter the void, it signifies reaching the level of a great martial god. Otherwise, one is not. Lin Fei diligently gathered information and insights about the cultivation path beyond martial gods. He even compared it with the path of immortality. For instance, deity transformation cultivators on the path of immortality need to comprehend the mysteries of the void to advance to the stage of void transformation, where they can integrate into and traverse the void at will. A void transformation cultivator, capable of creating countless incarnations, can be as formidable as millions of deity transformation cultivators. Quantity becomes meaningless at such a level. However, unlike immortals who must comprehend the elusive mysteries of the void, martial gods focus on continuously increasing their power. When their strength reaches a level capable of shattering the void, they attain the status of great martial gods, comparable to void transformation. Lin Fei preferred the martial path for its simplicity and directness, where strength reigns supreme. He believed in the principle of one force breaking all methods, where no matter what secrets the void holds, they can be overcome with sheer force. But how to increase the power of a martial god? The answer lies in laws. Martial gods don't need to comprehend laws, they need to strengthen them. And how is this done? The answer is plundering. This doesn't mean plundering laws from individuals, as there are limited martial gods or deity transformation beings in the entire ancient continent. Instead, it refers to plundering from nature itself, seizing the essence of heaven and earth, which embodies laws. Lin Fei looked up, always aware of the immense sea of origin in the void, containing both origin and laws. Origin and laws are distinct. Lin Fei has comprehended a strand of law, while the residual power in his body is from the origin. At his current level, Lin Fei cannot yet touch the power of origin, so he must cultivate laws by capturing them from the sea of origin. Each capture brings a heavenly tribulation, or thunder tribulation, a test of one's strength and resolve in the face of cosmic powers. For when the Thunder Lord brings destruction, those who withstand it gain the law. Those who cannot, turn to ash. There is no chance for luck. Only by surviving 9 thunder tribulations can one possibly reach the realm of shattering the void. This is the path all martial gods must tread to shatter the void. They must endure the thunder tribulation. In contrast, deity transformation cultivators need not. They merely need to comprehend and merge with the void, seeking enlightenment in their path. This is why the number of martial gods is dwindling. 9 thunder tribulations, each more formidable than the last. Only the exceptional can withstand them. Most martial gods fail and turn to ash. Of course, there's another choice, to cease cultivation and not face the tribulation. In doing so, one can live for 100,000 years. Such martial gods have forsaken the possibility of further advancement in martial arts, content with mediocrity, nearing the end of their martial journey. So, I am but a novice among martial gods, Lin Fei murmured softly, not even worthy of a single thunder tribulation. The path from martial god to shattering the void is truly perilous, for it involves choice. After surviving a tribulation, if one finds it too arduous and becomes complacent, one can choose not to face further tribulations, living a peaceful 100,000 years. This, in itself, is a major test in martial cultivation. Having an option to retreat is more terrifying than having none. Lin Fei had thought it through clearly. The real challenge in martial cultivation begins at martial god, for this stage involves choice. Unlike before, when there was no turning back in cultivation, now one can choose to retreat, not face the tribulation, and live peacefully for 100,000 years. This very choice has eroded the will of many martial gods, deterring numerous talented cultivators from facing the tribulation. If passing through the thunder tribulation was mandatory to shatter the void, everyone would desperately seek ways to endure it, resulting in more cultivators achieving that level. But now, those who reach the realm of shattering the void are few. It is akin to a soft saber, deadly without shedding blood. To withstand the thunder tribulation, one must find various ways, for it is the power of destruction, annihilating the physical body. My physical body is now entirely based on the laws of the world, Lin Fei pondered. What if I turn each particle into a world, crafting a microcosm like a world within a grain of sand? If a single grain of sand can contain a world, why can't each particle of my body become a world? Once achieved, wouldn't crossing the thunder tribulation be effortless? Lin Fei quickly found his direction and, in his mind, a bold idea emerged to forge his physical particles into a world, or rather, a microcosm. This concept was astonishing. How many particles does a person have? 480 million. Lin Fei didn't know, but he was aware of the countless particles in the body. If he could turn each particle into a micro-world, the final achievement would be unimaginable. Not just shattering the void, but even becoming the progenitor of martial arts was not out of reach. Could this be considered my own unique path? Lin Fei pondered, inspired. A thought struck him: martial gods could actually pass down their own doctrines, the true doctrines that directly point to the laws of the cosmos. Lin Fei's law was the world's law. By crafting his physical particles into worlds, it aligned perfectly with his law, even complementing it. Thus, this could also be considered Lin Fei's path. Of course, this was just a preliminary concept. Creating a microcosm was difficult. Lin Fei had no clear idea how to start, let alone base it on his physical particles to create numerous micro-worlds. This was an even greater challenge. However, Lin Fei had plenty of time. He could ponder it slowly. Perfecting any doctrine takes a long time. As time passed, a month went by. On a sunny day, Feng emerged from seclusion. Lin Fei immediately stopped his practice and stepped out of the secret chamber, his expression solemn as he fixed his gaze on Feng and asked gravely, "Feng, are you confident?" This step was crucial. Even Lin Fei, who had gone through it, felt there was a bit of luck involved. Hence, whether Feng could successfully attain enlightenment was uncertain to him. Lin Fei was even somewhat worried. Feng, however, was carefree and smiled slightly. Who dares to say they are certain of enlightenment? If one does not attain the Tao, who knows if it's truly their path? But regardless of whether I attain it or not, I firmly believe this is the path I must take. In the next moment, the 9 bloodlines within Feng fused together as one. Feng began the process of enlightenment. Chapter 461. Feng Tao to Divinity. A pair of martial gods. Feng journey to divinity was grand and imposing. She made no attempt to conceal her process. Her true martial king form erupted instantly. Behind her, a massive phoenix shadow, the manifestation of her phoenix bloodline and the phoenix fire, could be vaguely seen. It resembled a fiery cloud, presenting a miraculous vision. Many from the Feng family immediately understood what was happening. Even those who didn't know, upon seeing such a spectacle, could guess. Feng is now challenging the realm of martial gods. It's uncertain if she will succeed. It's hard to say. Although Lin Fei martial god recently achieved divinity, it was an exception. Moreover, Lin Fei martial god's path of cultivation has been smooth sailing, never once failing. It's normal for him to create miracles. But Feng, even among martial kings, is not the most exceptional. The Phoenix bloodline and the Feng family seems advantageous. However, in reality, when it comes to achieving divinity, the Phoenix bloodline might be a hindrance. After all, the Feng family has never produced a martial god. Perhaps Lin Fei martial god could offer some assistance to Feng Ling. Many eyes turned toward Feng Ling and then glanced at Lin Fei. Indeed, Lin Fei was a newly achieved martial god. He could at least provide some experimental guidance to Feng Ling. However, such help was limited, or else there would be more martial gods. Feng Ling's 9 bloodlines merged into one. After that, she remained motionless. Lin Fei suddenly looked up, his eyes narrowing slightly. He could see that only a single thread remained on Feng Ling. That was the path, or the law, chosen by Feng Ling. Lin Fei continued to follow this thread with his senses. Soon, he sensed the blazing flames that seemed capable of burning everything. Indeed, Feng Ling had chosen the path of flame. She needed to comprehend the law of fire to achieve divinity. However, this was a step that no one could assist Feng Ling with. She had to rely on herself. Lin Fei could only wait quietly. As time ticked by, the sea of the origin of fire showed no signs of activity. Lin Fei felt a chill in his heart. He knew well that the shorter the time taken in the process of divinity, the better. The longer it took, the more likely it was to encounter trouble. Taking too long could mean getting completely lost in the sea of origin. However, Lin Fei was unable to assist Feng Ling. She had to comprehend the law of flames by herself to awaken fully. After what felt like an eternity, Lin Fei grew increasingly anxious. Suddenly, the sea of the origin of flames began to tremble. The sea churned subtly, and vast flames burned. A faint ripple of the law of flames could be discerned. Did she succeed? Lin Fei immediately turned his gaze towards Feng Ling. At that moment, Feng Ling abruptly opened her eyes. Their gazes met. Feng Ling, congratulations, Lin Fei said, a smile breaking across his face. He knew she had succeeded. She had achieved divinity and become a martial god. Flame law. Feng Ling was more aware than anyone. She had grasped the law of flames and, based on this, she began to reconstruct her divine body. This was a step every martial god must undergo, the reforging of the divine body. The flames roared fiercely. Feng Ling was like a phoenix reborn from fire. Her physical body burned to ashes, but with the flame law at its core, she reconstructed a new body, a divine body, the body of a god. At this moment, the life of Feng Ling was elevated to a whole new level, entirely different from ordinary beings. Lin Fei, at least I can accompany you for 100,000 years now, she said, her eyes full of affection. I won't let you be alone. The unspoken understanding between companions was evident. To accompany one another, especially as martial gods, was vital. The inability to do so would be tragic. With Feng Ling achieving martial god status, it meant that she could accompany Lin Fei for a considerable time. 100,000 years was a significant duration. Lin Fei took Feng Ling's hand and they descended from the void, arriving before the Feng family. Congratulations to the clan leader on becoming a deity. Congratulations to the clan leader and martial god Lin on becoming martial god companions. The Feng family erupted in various congratulatory messages. For them, this was a double blessing. The shock of Lin Fei being a martial god was immense, but now Feng Ling had also achieved martial god status. This was a true phoenix bloodline, capable of extending the family's glory for 100,000 years. Moreover, the Feng family pondered deeply. Lin Fei and Feng Ling had no children yet, but now that they were both martial gods, any offspring they might have would be extraordinarily powerful. Could it possibly lead to the birth of a third martial god? The mere thought was exhilarating. This is indeed a cause for celebration, Feng Ling said calmly. But let's not make a big fuss about it. We've just had a celebration for Lin Fei. Let's just spread the news. Feng Ling, unconcerned with formalities, relaxed completely after achieving the status of a martial god, fulfilling her initial aspiration. Bearing the hopes and expectations of the entire Feng family, she had now lived up to them all by becoming a martial god. As for what lay beyond the realm of martial gods, she did not think too far ahead. Just becoming a martial god was fortunate enough. She decided to consider further cultivation later, aware that Lin Fei's talent far surpassed hers. Lin Fei would undoubtedly continue steadfastly on the path beyond martial gods, and when a safe and convenient route was found, he would surely lead Feng Ling along with him. Her trust in Lin Fei was absolute. "Feng Ling, I'll spend more time with you in the coming days," Lin Fei said, setting aside his own cultivation for the time being. As Dao companions, they had not yet had the chance to truly talk heart to heart and experience ordinary life together. Now, as both had achieved martial god status, they finally had the time. However, the news of Feng Ling becoming a martial god quickly spread throughout the ancient continent. This was no minor gossip but a significant event. Feng Ling, hailing from a martial king family and achieving martial god status, proved that the bloodline of a martial king family was not an absolute shackle. It could be broken and one could still become a martial god. Moreover, the relationship between Lin Fei and Feng Ling as Dao companions was unique, representing a pair of martial gods, a true celestial couple. While they were not yet at the level of Dao integration true immortals, the fact that both companions, coming from martial king backgrounds, achieved divinity was extraordinarily rare. In no time, the names of Lin Fei and Feng Ling became widely known throughout the ancient lands. In a dark rift that suddenly appeared in the void, a portal formed. A wisp of black mist flew out from the portal, which then vanished. The mist coalesced into a slender, handsome man in a black robe. He looked around, closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and sighed, finally back. "The divine realm is nice, but you can't just devour at will. The ancient continent is wonderful, full of life. Sneaking a little consumption here and there won't hurt. Let's start with this kingdom, a little appetizer." The man in the black robe, his eyes revealing a hint of madness, transformed into a streak of black light and flew toward a distant human kingdom.